But in reality, my background is in tech. I started with a Fortune 20 tech company in New York City, got transferred to Denver, and then ended up being the international general manager of 2 countries in the Caribbean for AT&T Wireless. So my background is in tech. The more interesting question is, how did you get into the plumbing business? Well, after my assignment internationally, I came back to the US and I wanted to stay in Colorado. And I decided that I wanted to stay in Breckenridge, Colorado, which if you've been there before is absolutely amazing. There's Breckenridge, Colorado. Has anybody been here? Yes, beautiful. So I come back from my international assignment and I am in Breckenridge and I decided to buy a franchise of a business coaching firm. Now, I was in big corporate America, so of course, let's go buy a business coaching firm, which you really know nothing about small business, but I thought it was a good idea anyway. Well, this was 2007. So for those of you who've been around for a little while, you know what's about to happen with our economy. So I have my business coaching firm up in Breckenridge, and I am starting out pretty well. I'm speaking all over the place. I have a lot of group coaching clients, one-on-ones. Things are good. But things are starting to get a little weird. I'm having some people cancel, and some kind of, people are changing to a different plan. Credit cards aren't going through. Because the first thing you do at the beginning of a recession is you sell your multi-million-dollar house in a ski resort that you use once a year. So that's what was happening with me. Meanwhile, though, the franchise folks asked me to sit down with this gentleman and tell him all about my franchise. And I did. I met him at my favorite restaurant. I told him everything was great. It was amazing. And at the end of the meeting, I said, so, where do you plan on putting your franchise? And he says, right here in Breckenridge. So in other words, competing with me in my business that's not really working, I instantly hated this guy, hated him. So for the next 5 years, wherever I went, there was this guy. He never bought the franchise, but I would see him everywhere, and I couldn't stand him. And then 5 years later, on a Delta Airlines over Iowa, he proposed, and he is now my husband. And he is a master plumber, an HVAC NATE certified technician, and was at one point a journeyman technician, a journeyman electrician. So what we did is we realized that during this recession, being up in the mountains really wasn't working. So we moved our business down to Denver, and we started Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air. My husband had one truck. The plumbers were working out of my coaching office, and I would listen to them in the next room. Now, when you're paying for a business coach, it's coaching. However, when it's your husband, it's nagging. But in 2014, I took over and became the CEO of Sunshine Plumbing, Heating, Air at the time, now Sunshine Home Services. And through a variety of twists, turns, and what have you, we ended up being quite successful. We earned 43 awards. I have stepped away from the company from in and out several times over the years. This is our last run, though. Our goal is to be done with this business in the next 3 to 5 years. But one of the things because I love tech, you heard the way Shark introduced me, I am a junkie. I kid you not, I consume 10 to 15 hours a week of content on AI. I've taken 4 different certification classes, including the Google one, which I wouldn't recommend that one, but there's others that are great. But I love AI. So I know that there's going to be a lot of AI speakers here today, but I'm going to share with you exactly what I did to cut $150,000 out of our budget for this year using AI. So as Shark said, I am a junkie about it, but I want to explain to you, if you don't know a whole lot about AI, let me share with you exactly how it works. And why, when you use it sometimes, you get some really weird answers. Do you ever get that? You ask ChatGPT something or ask it to do a photo and it's totally wild. That in the industry is called hallucinations. But let me share with you first how it works. So AI is trained on things that are out there in the world. And up until just recently, as you may have heard, you couldn't really go back before 2021. Now you can, because they've connected with other sources to bring information in. But the way AI is learning is from data all over the place, combining it in. It's if you had 1 billion really smart friends, and we put them all into big, high computing, and there you would have generative AI. So for example, if we are trying to change and teach the AI about shoes, and these are all the shoes that we put in there, now we put these in there, it doesn't know that it's shoes. So what does this mean for you? Well, one thing you need to be a little careful. AI can be amazing, and it is, but it also can go in the other direction. My favorite AI person that I follow his podcast, I've taken his course, I belong to his mastermind every week. Absolutely amazing stuff. But he told me the other day in one of our mastermind calls that sometimes he wakes up in the middle of the night scared for his family on what AI can do. And one of the things that I've observed as I was training my AI, and my AI is very seasoned. So when you use my ChatGPT, I'm going to get far better results than maybe someone who was brand new yesterday, because I have been training it. I have been adding data in there. I've been adding things about myself. I've been adding blind things about my industry in there so I get better results, and that's the way it works. So how can you use it for your own business? How can you take this away and say, I'm going to put that into play right now? Well, we're a small company. We have 13 employees in the high season. We do between $2 to $3 million a year. And we have had an issue with onboarding. And I'm going to share with you before the end of this presentation how I'm using AI to do my recruiting. But first, we were doing really poorly on onboarding. And one of the things is that I had written policies and procedures for our company when we first started 11 years ago, and I haven't really updated them. Also, our onboarding process, to be honest, sucked. It really did. We would hire someone on, we'd throw an iPad at them, put them in a truck, off you go. Bad. And we were getting really bad results. People were leaving. So I stumbled upon an AI-driven policy manual that I could rewrite all of our policies and procedures. I could take things we already had and add them in there, create videos, create step-by-step an entire onboarding process. And the way I did it is here. So I took 5 days, and I journaled it on LinkedIn, and you went old school first. If you see those big poster boards out there, the way that I did it, and the way I would recommend anyone using AI in a process, is find the problem first, find your process and what you want it to do, and then lay the AI over it. One of the things I did here is it used to take one of my employees a day and a half to figure out our payroll. I have it down to 20 minutes. I also wrote in that 5-day period 2,000 policies and procedures for our company, if you can imagine. So what we did is anything on the onboarding. We did how do you take care of your truck? This is how you get your benefits. This is what's expected of you. This is your quota. This is how you get paid. Every single thing. And if you click on any of those, it will come up with a stack of things like this. So there's videos in there that I built. There's policy starters. There are ways that you can use this. So I'm at 2,003 policies. And as we continue to grow our company, we continue to add policies and procedures so we don't need to repeat it again. And as I said right in the very beginning, I'm looking to sell my company in 3 to 5 years. It is time to go and do something else. This is going to help me exponentially because every single thing that we do is now documented. And this is a program called Trainial. At the end, I'm going to give everyone a QR code. I know this is a lot to absorb in a 40-minute block. So what I will do is I'm going to give you a QR code. Every single thing that I use, I'm going to let you know what it is, how to get there, how to look at it, how you can use it yourself. But this is one that we will continue to use. So what I did with those 2,000 policies and procedures, we are up to about 9 hours of onboarding training for a new employee to come on. So if you're a small business, you may use Gusto for your payroll. So the way ours works, employee comes into Gusto, they take their offer letter, do all of that, then they move over to Trainial, they're connected on the back end, and then they do all of this training. There's quizzes built in there, there's signatures, anything that you can think of, do it yourself, which would have cost a fortune in the past. And small businesses like mine would never be able to use it. Smart home technology. That is something that is a huge topic, and we are moving into that. We believe that smart homes are a thing of the future. We also believe, if we look at the history of technology, we're in 2024. The internet was really just getting steam 24 years ago in 2000. But think about this. What do the next 24 years look like? As fast as we are going with AI, the next 24 years are going to be mind-blowing. We can't even imagine what it can do and what it will do. And if you have small children, how will they learn? One of the things that I use a lot is an AI called Hey Jen. It makes avatars. I love playing with it. I'm going to show you a few of them here. But this is one that just cropped up this weekend. So the great thing about speaking about AI is I love it. The bad thing about speaking about AI is I have to redo this presentation every single time I give it because something is new. And this one just came live at the end of last week. So check this out. Now, I'll just set it up. I was typing, all right? And this is what the AI does.
Thank you for that information. Based on what you've shared, I'll need to schedule an in-home consultation for a precise assessment. Our water heaters come with a full warranty and installation by our certified technicians. Plus, we offer competitive pricing and financing options to fit your budget. Would you like me to schedule an appointment for a free consultation? Or is there a specific time you prefer?
Okay, so I trained that AI to know about water heaters. So what I did is I went into ChatGPT and I said, please create a script for someone who might be talking back and forth about water heaters, as ChatGPT does, or sometimes I'll use Perplexity, which I love even more, and I will get the script and I popped it in there to train her. And then I typed in and asked, I need a new water heater. And that's what it started asking me. So this is a two-way conversation now with this AI. That's so cool. And it's going to continue to grow. Does anybody ever have a great idea and you have it on paper, but it's not that useful, right? You ever do that? You're like the back of the envelope, right? So check this out now. You may or may not know this, but ChatGPT on the paid version, we had this up in our office. I'm like, what is this? And my husband's like, we were trying to explain to one of the dispatchers how air conditioning and HVAC works in a home. So he drew this very basic photo and put it on the wall. And I took a picture of it the other day and I said to put it into ChatGPT and I said, create an image out of this drawing, and it came back with that. Which is relatively right, except the spelling is atrocious. So if you use Dolly or any of the AIs to create something that's got text, every single time, it's like you can tell it what you're spelling and it still does it wrong. I don't know I have no explanation for that otherwise than put it into Canva and fix the name. Next thing that I did was this. So here's our plan for the year, and it did that. So super cool. And it continues over and over again. This is Otter AI, one of my favorite things. Many of you may use it. It's becoming more and more popular. You hop onto a Zoom with a person, and they've got Otter, which is transcribing the conversation. It's then putting it into audio, turning it into text. There's also other programs now that you can use that you can put your text in. It will create videos for you. And what I love is you take all your old blogs, shove them into Pictory or some other engine, and you'll be able to get videos that you can use and break them up and put them out on social media. That's in the handout, so if you were wondering. One of the things, too, that I like to do is try and find ways for the AI to make us more streamlined. Now, I told you I saved all that money. One of the things was the payroll. So that was a big savings. Another thing that I did, and I'll show you here in a minute, is I took all of my financials and I put them into ChatGPT, blind, so that I didn't put my name or anything else. And there's some new things about that has just come up this last week. However, and I created my budget for 2024. At first, when I put it in, I said, analyze this information. So I put in a balance sheet, profit and loss statement, cash flow projection, and a bank statement. And I put it all in there, and I said, please analyze. Well, what it did was say, column A is not equal to column B. So it analyzed the spreadsheet, right? So we need to get our prompts down, and you may hear that, right? Prompt engineering, prompt engineers, prompt writing, which is getting easier and easier, but initially, you had to know your prompt to get the best result. So a lot of companies now will have a prompt library that they share with each other. You keep it in some sort of repository. You got a good idea with this, so on and so forth. So later, what I did is I put all those numbers in there raw, cut them out of the spreadsheet. It looked like a big jumble of numbers, put them into the AI, and it created my 2024 budget. Just with a bunch of numbers. Like, it was a mess. I was like, no way is it going to be able to come up with anything like that. It did. It told me where to cut. It told me where to watch, told me what to do, told me where to find better pricing, so on and so forth. Also, something else which a lot of people don't realize, on your ChatGPT, if you have the paid version and it's on your phone, you can now have a two-way conversation with it, and it can do things like this.
Create an image on a stage of a speaker delivering their best content to a mesmerized audience.
Here's the image of a speaker delivering an engaging speech to a captivated audience. The stage setting and the interaction look quite lively. What do you think?
I challenge you to try this. If you have ChatGPT on the paid version on your phone, you got to check it out. Like, just ask it to tell you a story or paint a picture of Switzerland or whatever it is. Like, it is mind-blowing. You will have so much fun. Have a couple of drinks. Play with the AI. It's awesome. I feel like there's going to be a lot more introverts. I mean, I personally stay in a lot more these days because I'm upstairs geeking out on my computer about all of these things.